meaning, purpose, and fulfillment in life is only found in one thing, and that is in the service of others. Not personal achievement, not stroking my ego, not look at what I've done. It will always be found in the betterment of someone else. That's why we do what we do, because I have all these opportunities to serve. And it's not rooted in propping ourselves up. It's rooted in actually trying to help other men. And in return, we get served, right? And it allows us to level up as well. Jay, dude, we make it happen, man. How you doing, sir?
Good, brother. How are you? Yeah, this is exciting. I think this is our first time together doing one of these, so I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, if you guys haven't caught, Ryan's not on with us today for the AMA, but we have Jay from the Iron Council. Jay's one of our leaders in the IC. Jay, you've been in the Iron Council for how long?
8 years now, going on 8 years.
8 years.
Yeah.
Yeah. So go ahead.
I was just saying, not quite from the beginning, but almost the beginning. I think Ryan just celebrated the 10-year anniversary, right? So 8 years.
Yeah, it's wild. I think I'm probably close to 9 or so, just a little ahead of you. It's funny. I'm sure we've lost it, but back in the day, we used to have a Google spreadsheet, and then we were assigned a number. Mm-hmm. Do you remember this spreadsheet, and do you know what your number was? What's your number?
I don't know what my number was.
Okay.
I don't. And I would have been in like the mid to high hundreds. So
okay,
because there was about 150, 180 somewhere in there when I joined. So you were probably still under 100 people when you joined.
Yes. Yeah. I think it was like 86. It's 86 or 68. It's okay. In my memory, it's one of those two numbers, which is just wild to think about. When we joined the Iron Council, we're talking hundreds of guys. And over the last 8 years, I mean, I was talking with Ryan about this just a couple weeks ago. I think he said over 10,000 men have gone through the Iron Council over the last 10 years. And we maintain kind of an active membership of over 1,000, maybe 1,200 or 1,500 or so. And it's so important, man, right? It was funny, if you don't mind me just kind of derailing a little bit, after the Charlie Kirk shooting, I remember there was a little bit of a revival around standing for something. I think a lot of people who followed Charlie saw the effort that he put in and the courage that he had to speak out around what he believed, right? And his whole platform was debate people that disagree with him, right? Like, a lot of us can't even debate politics with family members during Thanksgiving, right? And he is intentionally putting himself in the space for the spirit of debate. And this is where everyone misunderstood him. One of his greatest, I think, contributions to society was the conversation, the power of the conversation, regardless of your viewpoint. And the fact that he lost his life for that just kind of rejuvenated and renewed for a lot of people that they should be taking a stand a little bit more and standing for their beliefs. And I remember I was at my kids' school there. It's a private school, and they were talking about creating a chapter around Turning Point. And it's like a parent meeting, and I'm sitting in the back, and I love sitting in the back and just kind of watching people, right? And judging probably, but regardless, watching people. And I could see this sense of energy from all these parents, like they're rallying, they're about something. And then I remember sitting there going, I've been rallying already. I have my thing. And my thing is the thing that I've been thinking I've been doing with Ryan for the last, 8+ years, is supporting this movement. What is Order of Man? What is the Iron Council? What are we about? And in the grand scheme of things, what's our purpose? Dude, to help men rise up and be better versions of themselves, which is 100%. Better fathers, better husbands, better employees, better bosses. I mean, I can't think of anything more valuable than us doing that, right? And it's a testament of what Ryan's put together. It's a testament of you and all the other leaders that we have invested a great deal of time for many years because of this cause. And maybe just a call to action to the guys listening to the podcast. Like, obviously you're listening because you find value in these conversations, but help us rally too, right? Like, share the message, share YouTube, share the video, share the podcast, right? Like, this is what's required for society to rise up. It's not in the space of government. Hate to break it to a lot of you. Society doesn't get better because of politicians. It doesn't. It gets better with homes, with families. That is the root of a good society, is in the home and in the family. And that's what we're focused on, and help us.
Yeah. I mean, I love what you say. It's like, be a man of action, right? We talk about that all the time in the Iron Council, but think about the 10,000 plus guys who have gone through the Iron Council. Yes, we only keep an active membership of somewhere between 1,000 and 1,500, but those 10,000 men on some level learned or changed a behavior that now there's like a ripple effect, right? It's not just 10,000 plus guys. It's all the people in their lives. Cause I'm with you. Like, where we can make a difference as men is in our circle of influence. Right. So yes, get involved in your local politics, but for me, it goes even maybe more grassroots, right? My family, my extended family, the guys in the Iron Council, and then that ripple effect is just so powerful. And that's, like you, I support the mission full-fledged, and just happy to be part of it, and do my little part, and I give, I get more than I give. Right. That's one thing I've learned from the Iron Council. I know it sounds cliche, but until you have this purpose in your life that you can get behind, you don't really realize how much you get from like going all in on something.
Totally. And there's power. Before we hop into the questions, we'll get to those here in a second. We talked about this morning a little bit within the Iron Council. We have a Friday call, all hands Friday call, and we were talking about, our internal talk and conversations with our, people that are in our lives, and how to do that effectively, and those kind of things. And the one thing that kind of resonated out of the conversation that you were facilitating this morning, and it goes along with what you just said, Jay, is I'm a huge believer that meaning, purpose, and fulfillment in life is only found in one thing, and that is in the service of others. Not personal achievement, not stroking my ego, not look at what I've done. It will always be found in the betterment of someone else. And for you, and I think I'm saying this, I'm assuming I can say this for you as much as for myself. That's why we do what we do, because I have all these opportunities to serve. And it's not rooted in propping ourselves up. It's rooted in actually trying to help other men. And in return, we get served, right? And it allows us to level up as well.
Yeah, 100%. One of my core values is service to others. And one of those, and I'm going to mess the quote up, but something along the lines of, you never know like how powerful something is until you do something for somebody that can never pay you back or doesn't even know it was you, right? And that's where it's like true. I'm like getting like a weird feeling right now, because it's just so powerful for me that when you're doing it for the right thing for the right reasons, it just becomes, it gives your life purpose. And that's what you get back from that, the purpose that it gives your life.
Totally. And any Christians, it's like, love your neighbor, right? That's what we're talking about, right? And love is a verb, not oh yeah, I love them. Oh, really? So what are you doing? What have you done? Right? And if we can't answer that question honestly, then we're not loving them. Right?
Yeah. Again, men of action, right?
Yep, absolutely. All right, let's get into some questions, man.
All right, our first question comes from Levi Brickley. What are some practical ways to be vulnerable and express emotions while maintaining the respect as a father? And then he has a follow-up question that I think we can also talk about. What are your thoughts on the importance of emotional regulation?
Yeah. So let's first cover the importance of emotional regulation. And then if it's okay with you, it's like, how does that show up in conversation, right?
100%.
Is that fair? So
fair enough.
I think emotional regulation, let's get really clear. What are we saying? Like for me, when I hear emotional regulation, it is choosing to be intentional with our response versus being reactionary based upon emotion. And Jay, you've heard me say this so many times. I'm sure guys in Iron Council are like, oh my gosh, Kipp and his phrases, his Kippisms, right? But like we're meaning making machines. And most of the meaning that we make around circumstances aren't true. They're not rooted in facts. Imagine like, have you ever been skiing, Jay, or snowboarding?
Yeah, a little bit. Not in a long time, but yeah.
So you remember like you'd wear the goggles, right? Like the red goggles, right? And you wear them. And at first you're like, oh, the world looks different, right? And then midday, you forget about it. Mm. And then you take those goggles off and all of a sudden you're like, oh my gosh, I can't believe it's so white. Because you got used to the lens by which you saw the world, which was like amberish red or whatever, depending on your types of goggles. Sure. That's what happens. Mm. At age 5, something happens. Lens. Age 10, 12, lens. Teenager, lens. Parents make mistakes, lens. Right? And my lens changes and all of a sudden Jay talks to me sideways and I see it through what? The lens by which I have seen the entire world. Mm. And I think that's true. I think it's like, see, it's evident. See, Jay did that because no one ever appreciates me, right? And we have these stories, these agreements that we think are facts, and we look for evidence of their truth everywhere. I mean, it's crazy to me, and I've like self-evaluated enough in my life to know this is true for me, and I've heard other people admit that this is true for them. Maybe it's not for everybody, but there is an element of being human that we would rather be right and miserable than wrong and happy. Mm. It's kind of sick. And so I would rather validate the lens by which I see the world in these agreements than probably be happy and wrong. Mm. And it's wild to me. And so emotional regulation is, hold on, am I seeing this through a lens? Is that true? Am I overreacting? Am I assuming my wife disrespects me or hates me or something? Or was she just busy and raised her voice really quick because she wasn't sure she could hear me, I could hear her? It could be very simple. And so emotional regulation from my perspective is in that place. I said this morning, I think it's an important thing to realize. We are not logical. Everyone thinks they're logical. Even I used to put myself in this category. I'm like, I'm an analytical thinker. I analyze everything. No. Let's clarify. I make meaning of something that's emotionally driven, and then I use logic to justify the emotional opinions I have. Mm. And I call that being logical. We're not logical. We're emotional beings. And so emotional regulation is this emotion in line with what's best to serve this person, this conversation? Is it rooted in facts? Am I overreacting? It's all about intentionality, right? Yeah. And I think it's found in that.
Yeah,
you were going to say something. Yeah.
I think of the power of the pause, right? The power of the pause, right? Because I know I relate, as you're talking, I'm relating this to myself, and you know that I came to the Iron Council with an anger problem. It was always a reaction as opposed to a response, right? And I can tell you that almost every time that I had what I would call one of my adult temper tantrums, the next day I would think about how silly it was that I reacted that way. Right. And that had I just take the time to pause, gather some facts, right? I had the chief of police tell me once, and it was probably because I responded in anger to something or reacted with facts before acts. Right. So we take that power of the pause, really kind of think about what's going on here and figure out what's true and what meaning am I giving this? To your point, what lens am I looking at this through? Then we can respond. And there's a time for anger, but most times, if you take that power of the pause, you're gonna realize that anger isn't the appropriate response. And this is, to me, emotional regulation, right? That power of the pause, facts before acts. Now I can respond appropriately.
Totally. And I think that answers the original question from Levi in practical ways. Pause, right? And I think the other part is we have to check our mindsets. right? And actually, let me address this, because he says practical ways to be vulnerable and express emotions while maintaining respect, as though those are opposites. I actually do not think those are opposites whatsoever. You can be authentic, and being authentic is a form of vulnerability, in my opinion. Yeah. You can be authentic and express your emotions and not lose respect. And in fact, I would argue that you will get more respect in that if you are being intentional about your emotions, right? If my emotions are a lash out on my kid, right? Oh, I hate you guys. You guys never respect. Like, if it's not true, if it's not rooted in that, and it's all about me and my interpretation, well, then I'm going to lose respect. But if my emotions are rooted in truth, right, and intentionality, expressing them, you're not going to lose respect. You're going to gain respect. And especially in a work setting, man, I can't count how many times I've seen this, where if a leader just owned it, guys, I screwed up. I'm incompetent sometimes. I make mistakes. I'm sorry. I feel like shit. But I'm committed to making a difference. I'm committed to you guys. I'm committed to doing whatever necessary to help us win. Most leaders won't say that because they assume, oh, they're going to lose respect. But everyone that just heard me say that, you tell me you wouldn't have more respect for that boss if they communicated that way. All of us would.
Yeah.
So 100%. don't fall into this false dichotomy that those two things mean one or the other. And our kids need to see this. I remember, I'll try not to get emotional about this, but I remember my dad when he went into the hospital, and it was like, hey, it was like a message from my mom saying, hey, your dad's going to the hospital. You might want to come visit him. Like, not he's dying, just kind of, he's not doing too well. And he just went downhill super fast. And so it was like pretty much a 2-week period, it felt like, of just everything's okay to him passing away. And I remember one night we're saying family prayers, and my kid says something about my dad in the prayer. And I just lost it. Just couldn't deal with it. And part of me was like, oh, hide that. And I'm like, no, own that. And then my kids were like, Dad, what's wrong? And I'm like, I'm not ready for my dad to die. I'm not ready for it. Yeah. You don't think my kids benefited from being present to a hardship? Dude, of course they would. It's our ego that stops us from not being expressed, right? But our kids need us to know, hey, I'm struggling here. Now, the Ryan in me, because I've heard him talk so many times, right? Is like literally right now, I know exactly what Ryan would counter to what I said. And I agree with him. And his response would be, if you're struggling, but don't like, oh, woe was me, right? Like, move to action, right? Create stability, right? It's our job as men to protect and preside and create stability in the lives of those we love, right? And so if you're stressed out, like, oh man, I don't know if I can provide for the family, right? You can express maybe your concern, but follow it up with, and this is what I'm going to do about it, right? Because that's the modeling they need, and that's the protection and stability that they need, and that's our jobs. Anything you would add to that?
No, just that I think we set our kids up for failure when we don't show that authenticity and that vulnerability, right? Because then they think, oh, I can't be vulnerable. Oh, maybe as a kid it was all right to be vulnerable, but now I'm 18 and I'm a man or I'm a woman and I need to have it all together and not be vulnerable, right? And I think we're setting them up for failure. And again, now they're going to, back to that lens they're going to view things through. They're going to view through the lens of, oh, I can't show this emotion. I have to show that I'm strong and I have it all figured out, right? And listen, I think of my own father when his mother passed away, and the Jairdullos aren't all that great at expressing emotion, right? And when the time came for my father to shed tears, he made us all leave the room. Right. And we all knew what was going on. Right. And I think that I didn't lose any respect for him. I would have more respect. I understood, like, of course he's going to cry. His mother, if he didn't cry. Right. So I think, listen, love my dad to death. I think where he failed a little bit there is making us leave the room, right? Because he wasn't like the whole time the funeral, he was weeping and feeling bad and not, he showed us how to grieve, right? How to appropriately handle this situation. And when it came time for him to grieve, it would have been good for us as young kids to maybe see a little bit of that as opposed to being asked to leave the room, So I think we set our kids up for failure when we don't show them that.
Totally.
But to your point, when we wallow in it or we act like victims is when we're wrong, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And we talked about this a little bit this morning as well in the Iron Council. What happens? Like, let's think through this. What happens when I'm authentic with you, Jay, and I express something I'm struggling with? Our relationship is stronger.
Yeah.
Trust is formed. I open myself up for you to see a portion of me that might be a little bit in that space of vulnerable. And in most cases, our relationship strengthens. This is why a psychological need of most people is to feel seen and heard, to feel that they can be expressed and people won't leave, that I can admit my shortcomings and my wife's not going to leave me. That makes me feel loved. So, okay, great. Never emotion anything. What level of relationship are we losing out with our children, with our brothers, with our friends, with our family members, because our unwillingness to create that space for someone, right? Relationships are at stake too.
Yeah. And by you being vulnerable and authentic with me, you open me up to do that, right? And I can tell you, at being on the other side of that, it's almost a relief. Like, oh, now I can show him that I'm struggling with this, right?
Totally.
So, and how many times does that happen where you open up to somebody, and the next thing you know, they're like, you almost see the relief come over them, and then they're opening up to you, right? So It's powerful. It's powerful.
Yeah, love it.
All right, our next question comes from.
I have to say this; it would be really funny. Like, and maybe next time we have our opportunity to record the podcast together, we answer the questions as though we were Ryan. It'd be really funny.
that would be funny.
I know exactly how he'd answer this.
Yeah, and you were spot on, right? Because I do that a lot too. It's funny because I'll do it like when he's there and I hear somebody say something that I know he like rubs him the wrong way. I'm like, man, he shouldn't have said that. Ryan's gonna give it to him, and I know exactly what he's gonna say. So that would be interesting to do. Yeah,
he would have gotten triggered by Levi saying vulnerable for sure. He would have lost this shit.
Yeah. That's great. So our next question comes from an Iron Council member, Mike Nebeker. He's a Battle Team Ulysses. So the first part is he says, Ryan, I think it would be really good for you to talk about what you posted on Facebook today. Ryan had posted that he was struggling a little bit, that he was feeling the struggle, right? Yeah. So his question is actually, what are some good habits to have in place for you when you feel deflated and life is getting the best of you?
Yeah. So, and I call, we need to flip the script. It's interesting. We'll use the correlation of going to the gym, right? You don't go to the gym because it's comfortable, right? You go to the gym because it's uncomfortable, because by going to the gym and being uncomfortable and running on the treadmill or lifting weights and tearing fibers in your muscles, that your muscles get bigger. We know this. We also know that is how people grow. That stress, even in the brain, is an enhancer to learning and growth. But yet, when stress shows up, what do? Oh, I shouldn't be this way. This is so, you know what I mean? And we wallow in it and we get frustrated with it. It's not true. It's where growth is, right? And so I think the first thing is, and I know it's hard, ironically enough, when Ryan made that post on social media, I was like, dude, I need to talk because I'm feeling the same exact way, right? So, but I use this phrase, I'm in it. Man, I'm in it. And I'll even use that at work. I see an employee or leader like really struggling. I'm like, you in it? And they're like, I'm in it. Or I got it, right? Like, I feel that. I understand. I'm not going to take away and pretend there's not a struggle happening. But let's also embrace that and go, got it. Like this is the opportunity for growth. And so we need to first flip the script. and not demonize this thing that is called growth. And it is difficult and it is uncomfortable, and that's okay. The question is how do we deal with it, which ultimately is Mike's question. So we flip the script first, and then deflated. I think this goes down to our self-awareness. What is the internal dialogue at play that makes you feel deflated? Man, I never can pull this off, or I'll never succeed, right? They're usually in these dramatized internal statements, probably related to that lens that we've been building our entire life, right? And that's why we feel deflated, right? And I think we have to realize that, like, be present, like, okay, is that true? And I think for most of us, we'd realize actually it's not true. Or, you know, we look at it and we put better context on it. Now, for me, and I'll just share literally what I did yesterday, because I felt like this. I felt highly deflated yesterday and the day before. For the last 2 days, I'm in it.
Yeah.
And I'm like, right. And it's ironic, is like, oh, what advice would I give someone else? And my advice would be, plan your work and work your plan. What's the plan, Kipp? It's all about reps. I tell my kids this. Oh, Dad, I wish I was better at basketball. Got it, son. You can wish all you want, but it's all about reps. The only reason why little Tommy's better than you is because he's been practicing more. That's it. So you want to get better at it. You want to address the current issue, put in the reps. What's the plan? Oh, I wish I was more successful. Okay, great. How are you going to become more successful? Move to action. I read this post. This is fascinating. I'm rolling this into our leadership development. Guess when motivation shows up? After action. Never before. Never. It's weird. We've been looking at motivation wrong. You don't get motivated and then act. You act and then you get inspired and motivated. So you got to move to action. This is why when we get stuck in it, we have a tendency to be like, oh, I'll just wallow. I'll eat like shit. I'll skip the gym. I'll watch a movie. Like, and then you're still stuck in it. Well, guess how you get out of it? You get on the path and you start taking action towards it, because it's a form of empowerment. So here's my 1-2 punch for you, Mike. Sorry, I'm all over the place here, so I'll get more succinct. Ryan's way better at like, oh, here's your 3-step plan, and then he just makes up some shit like instantly with like 3 steps. I'm not good at it. So here, I'm working on it. Here you go. So Mike, if you really think about it, it's the victim trap. Disempowerment is always in the space of victimhood. That this thing is outside my control and I can't do nothing about it. That's why you feel disempowered. Right? So how do you move from victim to owner? Step number 1, you deal in reality. What are the facts? Facts are, I don't make enough money. I have too much debt. I have to fix it. That's the facts. Got it. What's my role in it? Where have I gone wrong? Not so you can blame yourself and shame and all that, guys. No. Where's my role in it? Why? So I can learn. What's the solution? And I move to action. And the minute we start taking action towards our problems, we will feel empowered and we'll feel 100% better. It's when we don't act.
Yeah. With action comes clarity. The only thing I'll add to that, Kipp, is to get some of those small wins to build that motivation is, I would say, have some minimum effective dose strategies, right? Like, don't feel like doing anything. I'm deflated. I can't even imagine getting into the gym and throwing some weights around. I'm going to go for a walk, right? Minimum. I've never gone for a walk and not felt better afterwards, right? I've never, I'm going to read a chapter of whatever motivational book that, I'm going to read a chapter of Atomic Habits, of Sovereignty, and just some minimum effective dose strategies when you're feeling deflated to give you that motivation to celebrate, to have that small little win. And then again, like to your point, the motivation comes and then you just keep building on that.
Totally. 2 things come to mind. How much of this is a sense of loneliness? I think a lot of the time, I don't know, this might be a stretch here, but I'll put it out for consideration, that we feel alone in it. And maybe just a conversation with a buddy and realize you're not alone in it. Yeah. That other guys are dealing with the same thing just kind of makes you feel like 100% better. The other thing that come to mind too, as you shared, Jay, was I get this with employees sometimes, like they feel overwhelmed, right? They're just like, oh, I'm so overwhelmed. And I steal this from Echelon Front from Jocko, prioritize and execute. It's amazing if you got like all this that needs to be done, just figure out what the next 3 things are. Forget all the other stuff. What's the 1, 2, 3? And work on the 1, 2, 3. But if it's like you have all the things, you don't identify the priority and you're trying to work on all of them, you're going to feel overwhelmed. So maybe do some prioritization as part of that execution process as well.
Yeah. Next best step, right? I felt a little bit of that this morning, right? Because I had a lot going on today. And it was like, man, I got how am I going to manage all this? And then it's just like, hey, slow down, right? You got the 9 a.m. all hands on call. That's your focus, right? Prepare for that, right? Then I had somebody I sold something on Facebook Marketplace, right? Like, all right, I got to get this done and make sure it's actually working. He's coming to buy it. But like, so I wasn't worried, but in my mind, I'm like, I also got to be ready for the AMA, right? But I'm like, no, let's get the striper. Let's start it up, see if it's working, make sure, right? So it's just next best step. And to your point, prioritizing, right? Yeah, I have a lot going on today. And, I'm not thinking about wrestling practice now on this AMA. It's that old thing, be where your feet are, right?
Yeah. I love that. Be where your feet are. I mean, it's even, that's kind of like this phrase that I teach my son, do your best, forget the rest. It kind of is rooted in that idea too. Like, don't worry about the next thing. Just do your best with what you're doing right now and forget it. Like, move all the what ifs, all that kind of just do your best in the current task, right?
Yeah. Disengage from the results, right? Disengage from the results. Focus on the process. We hear all the time. Cool. Next question comes from another Iron Council member, Matt Matucci, XO of Oscar. I've been setting up get-togethers for the men of the IC in the Salt Lake area sometime over the last few months. Only 1 or 2 guys show up. How do I create more enticing events? Because I know that there are quite a few guys in the area. Having Kipp come to all of them is the worst thing that could ever happen. No, that's not. Having Kipp come to all of them would be an easy answer because it seems like a lot of people are in when he is in, but we know he's always stacked. Also, with the seasons turning, what are simple ideas for indoor activities?
Got it. So 2 things. Create more enticing events, right, to try to get better numbers. And then number 2, simple ideas for indoor stuff. So first off, let me say this. Matt, you're a great example of this, man. Like, he's being assertive. He says, hey, I'm part of the Iron Council. There's a bunch of guys in the Iron Council in Northern Utah. We don't get together. So what does Matt do? He makes it happen.
Yeah.
How many guys, first off, are sitting back going, oh, I wish, I'll wait and hope. I sure think that Jay should do this. Oh, I think my boss should do this, right? And it's like, well, you do it, right? So first off, props to you, Matt, for like, hey, I want something, I have a need, or I think we should do it, and you're doing it, right? So like, the fact that you're not getting the numbers per se, like, yes, it's good to evaluate and like, how do I improve? But at least you're taking action against it, right? And so props to you. And obviously I benefited from your efforts to rally and have a group. The key things here is consistency. For the most part, what I would encourage you to do is if you're doing like a monthly or a quarterly, start setting the tone right now. Hey guys, I want to start a monthly meetup. It's on the 3rd Thursday of every month. Block your calendars now. Like, create a reoccurring, consistent that everyone knows. I think that's going to help you. Of course, rallying the guys, but also it's amazing. And I think we can still this principle in multiple facets of life. So like, everyone hear me out here. There is a big difference when you're a leader and you communicate to the masses and I say, hey, all leaders, I want you to, or I expect you to do X, Y, Z. And this is how we typically do this, by the way. All leaders do X, Y, Z. And then we sit back as a leader and go, man, why aren't they listening to me? There is a big difference between being part of a group conversation versus me calling up you, Jay, as a leader and say, hey, Jay, can I ask you to do X, Y, Z for me? It'd be really meaningful and important. And this is why it's important. Would you be willing to do that? You do that to every leader, guess what happens? They all do it. Right. Why? Because that's more meaningful. Oh, I'm included on a thread. I'm included on an email. You're telling me what to do at a group accountability level? Screw that. Really? But you reach out to me? Kipp, it's important to me. This is why. Do I have your commitment, connection? Got it, boss. Absolutely, I'll be there. Right? Matt, you could do the same thing on these meetups. Grab a couple of those guys, call up Matt, call up the other Brett, right? Call up me and say, hey, Kipp, it's really important. This is why it's really important. I really want to create this. Can you prioritize it for me? Now we're talking. That's powerful. People will always commit 100% more in a one-on-one commitment because it's an ask of commitment. A suggestion, an email, that's weak town. That's blue belt level. You know what I mean? Accountability, right? So do the personal reach out. Indoor stuff, you already know the answer to this, man. We're going to do jiu-jitsu this month or next month, maybe some self-defense stuff. But like change of seasons, man, we're mountain men. We're in Utah. Screw that. Right? Let's go outside. Let's go snowshoeing up the mountain, even though it doesn't make sense. Let's hike up the canyon to some hot springs in the middle of winter, right? Like, you know, be a little unreasonable with your craziness, and people kind of get excited when you talk crazy, right? You know, Mike Schaefer, Jay, you know, Mike is so funny. Like we did a hike, last month with Matt. He organized it. I was on a 72-hour fast. And I'm like, yeah, sure. By the way, bad idea. I thought I was going to have a heart attack. That was not a good idea. But we did this hike. And my heart's just pounding or whatever. And Mike Schaefer, what does he say to me? Dude, you want to do Timpanogos tonight? I'm like, and Timp, you like hike at 2 a.m. in the morning to get there by sunrise. It's a legit, very difficult hike. And he's doing this hike with us and saying, hey, in 8 hours, do you want to do something even harder? It was so enticing because I'm like, you're crazy. Sounds awesome. You know what I mean? And you know, so be a little unreasonable, Matt. It's okay. It's disrupted a little bit.
Yeah. Couple thoughts I have while you were talking is one, I love the one-on-ones, right? It gets buy-in, but I'll take it a step further. You're looking for things to do. When you have those one-on-ones, ask those guys what they want to do, right? If you're doing a suggestion that they made, like, hey, you've talked to 3 guys. Hey guys, here's the next 3 trips. And they're all suggestions from those 3 guys. You don't think those guys are going to be all about it? And even if the third guy has the last idea, he's going to be like, oh, we're doing mine. I want to make sure that people show up to mine. So I'm going to show up to those first 2, right? And then the other thing is, you know, kind of that, again, release yourself from the results. Like focus on who shows up. Like Alan and I organize a lot of Northeast events, right? And sometimes, you know, when we were doing that rucking challenge, Alan would put it out there. We'd meet at the Manasquan Reservoir by his house. He'd put it out there, and it would just be me and him. But that just meant that me and him get to have more one-on-one time and go deeper with each other as opposed to a group, right? So focus on focus on who shows up. And if it's just one guy, great. You get to know that one guy that much better because it's just you and him sweating and bleeding together.
Yeah. I love that. Good call.
Cool. All right, another Iron Council member, Travis Gair. I hope I'm saying that right. Gaer. Gair. He looks like he's a new member going through the onboarding process. And the Iron Council is open for those of you who are interested in joining, right? What is it? Orderman.com/Iron Council. His question is, I just turned 41 years old. I'm in the process of rebuilding my life. I have a son, and hopefully one day me and his mother will be married. We have not lived in the same house in 10 years, but things are going good between her and I and me and my son. I have a job that pays okay, but it's not a job that I think he wants to say that has much of a future for me. What would be smarter choice? What would be a smarter choice? Looking at pay, benefits, and retirement, joining a heavy equipment operators union, or just a better company that appreciates and takes care of their employees? My only obstacle that I can see are just like, I think it's lack of training or experience operating, and I currently do not have a vehicle, which is why I have the job I have. This is a long one. I think that the long and short of it is he wants to know strategies for. Well, I'll read the rest of it so we can get. I don't want to make.
Yeah, he jumps to. I guess my question is. Do you see that? We can jump to that.
Yeah, I don't. I'm looking. I guess my question is, how can I prioritize saving for a vehicle yet keep my other bills and collectors satisfied? And that's you're guilty because I guess he's guilty because Christmas.
Oh, and Christmas is coming up. Yeah.
Yeah. So I think what the question is how does he prioritize getting that vehicle so he can get the better job, right? And then he's got all these other kind of issues when it sounds like around money and finances.
Yeah. Yeah. So let me paraphrase this in my head as I think through this, right? Like, you got a job, doesn't pay good enough. There's a sense of I don't feel appreciated in it. Christmas is coming up, pressure's coming. I want to wow the wife or wow the ex-wife or the girlfriend. I have this hope of we're going to be together. I feel this. I don't know why I feel this is part of this, Travis, is you getting your shit together is part of the weight of whether you and her are actually married someday, right? There's all this weight on how you're showing up. How do I get a new job when I don't have a car? The job I currently have is the job I have because I can ride a bike to it, but I don't have the money to get the car, to get the better job. I mean, dude, it goes back to Jay, what we were talking about earlier. You're in it.
Yeah.
And you're feeling it. And it means all this deep stuff. Yeah. And I'm exhausted. I feel you. Right. And so I don't say that from a mean perspective. I feel you. I feel the weight of that. I would focus on stop the false dichotomies. There's a lot of false dichotomies in here. Oh, it's this or it's that. No. Deal in reality. What's your reality? You probably have more debt than you have income. You struggle getting a new job because you don't have a vehicle to go get, right? And you probably can't get a loan for the car. That's your reality. So how do you deal in that current circumstance? You have to figure out, how do you move to action? And I'm saying it this way because I also don't want to be oh, hey, Travis, do XYZ, and then you just do XYZ. That's not the issue. The biggest issue or the bigger issue is you being stuck. And how do you get unstuck to identify the answer specifically for you on your own? Does it make sense? And so try to get to this space of dealing in your current circumstance and making sure you're separating your interpretations from the facts. Can you make more money where you're at? I didn't hear that in here. Right? That might be a conversation away. Boss, I'm in a tough situation. I need to make way more money. I'm willing to work overtime. I'm willing to bust my ass. I'm willing to do all these other things. What can I do to make more money immediately? What's the second job that I need to maybe prioritize and have a second job in play for me to save up enough money to get a car that I can then apply for another job, right? But you got to hustle where you are. And here's the, and I don't know if this is true, Travis. So don't take this as a judgment. Most of us will not communicate what I just said. Most of us will sit back and go, well, I'm working hard, but my boss doesn't see my value. But you haven't said anything to him either. And the reality of it is, it may not be true. He may value you and he's just busy and not realizing and whatever. So see your job. This is what I like to tell employees. See your job as you're the CEO of Travis Incorporated. Travis Incorporated, you're the CEO. Are you doing amazing work right now in your current role? And is your client happy with your work? Yes or no? If they're not, what are you doing to make sure they are? And what upsell opportunities do you have as the CEO of a Travis Incorporated with your current client, AKA your current boss? You own this world. They pay you based upon the value you bring. You bring more value, you get negotiation power to get more in return. Look at it holistically that way. Don't be passive to the boss, right? You get your own and you drive it as much as humanly possible. That's what crosses my mind. I know his question isn't about the wife, right? But there's a little bit of spirit in the same thing, right?
Yeah. And
I have a son. Oh, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, I do think he mentions in there somewhere that he also, if he focuses on making money, and I'm paraphrasing now, then has he also prioritized the wife and son and not lose that connection that they're good now. So I think you're spot on there.
Yeah. And that's where we over communicate.
Right.
Hey, there's times and seasons. And so you say, hey, babe, right? I have to get us or me out of this pickle. I need to get to better financial stability. I have a dream. It's going to come at a price. And you enroll them, enlist them, if you want to use that term, about what you're doing and where you're going to go and how you're going to achieve it. And you make it clear. So then that way they don't get sideways when you're busting your butt. Instead, hopefully, is they see what you're doing. They respect what you're doing. They respect the sacrifice, right? And they'll support you in it. But you have to enroll them into the plan.
Yeah. While you're talking, I think prioritize and communicate, right? The priority is, and you said it, can I make more money? Can I, because you're not getting that job that's, for lack of a better word, more stable with the pension and the retirement and all that without the vehicle, right? From what I'm hearing him say is, right now, the only job he can find is
stuck in a corner.
Right. With a bike ride, and that's not a career, right? It's just a job. Yeah. But to get a career, he needs to prioritize, right? Some budgeting, but I think the huge part of what you said is the communication, right? Like, hey, family, girlfriend, wife, whatever it is, son, and depending on the age, the conversation has to be age appropriate. But this is the season I'm in right now. This is what I'm doing to come through that season, and I just need you to kind of, for lack of a better term, bear with me or walk beside me in this, so that, to use that Dave Ramsey saying, we can live like no other, so we can live like no other, right? And when you're communicating that and saying, hey, look, this is everything, right? When we're struggling, and as leaders and fathers and husbands, is okay, it's okay to struggle, right? We're back to this same kind of theme, but here's my plan, and here's how we're all going to benefit when we follow through with this plan. Like, to your point, like, engage them in the plan, right? Make them part of the plan. Make them see that, as the son or the mother or the wife, I need to sacrifice some of my time that I would like to spend with him, so that down the road we can spend time together. So I'm not working until the day I die, right? He's looking for, he mentions a retirement plan. Like, so part of that is, hey, I want to have our golden years together. For me to do that, I need to do this now. And it's that good communication.
I love it, Travis. Like, I don't know. I just feel like saying this, right? Like, that's heavy, I relate to that. I've been there. That you got it, man. You just you gotta swallow the tough swallow of your current circumstance. You're in it. Like, this is a tough situation. So plan the work the plan, figure out what's the strategy and act on it. Right. And you got it.
Yeah. And it's like that growth you talked about earlier in the beginning of the call, right? That reframe this into an opportunity for growth, because that's what it is.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
Right? Yeah. All right, we got two more questions from the Facebook Order Man Facebook group. I think this first one we kind of answered, but we'll see if with Levi's question, but we'll see if you have anything else to add. Mike Gentry Cole asks, what does emotional maturity look like for a man, and how can I develop it? I think we kind of answered that with Levi. Did you have anything else you wanted to add to it?
Yeah, I mean, one thought just crosses my mind. This is such a great topic, right? Like, we could talk about this forever, right? Because, like, what is that, right? Emotional maturity. Most of it is an understanding of what it means to be human. That's it, man. Right? Great leadership. It's funny. I hate most leadership training. I hate most of it. And the reason why is because they address on these tactical hacks of leadership. They're hacks. They're all hacks. They're all forms of lies and manipulation, right? It's like even emotional maturity we'll talk about. Well, how do I manipulate how people respond? Dude, stop. See people as people. Love people. Don't be as judgmental. Check your ego and realize most people are trying to do great work and they care about what people think and they want to feel seen, heard, and trusted and loved. There's emotional maturity for you. Like it's really just to the grassroots of dealing with humanity. And if you get any counsel that's different than what I just said, then they're just tools of manipulation, and shame on you for using them against other people.
Yeah. It boils down to being authentic, right? Be authentic and understand that
it's amazing what happens when you just love people.
Yeah. And understand that we all experience the gamut of emotions, right? Yeah. And to think that we don't, and it's not so much do we experience them, it's how we respond to them, how we express them. So when you're authentic, I mean, it's one of those simple, not easy, but when you're authentic, all this stuff kind of just falls into place and you're like, oh, wow, this is when you figure it out, it's like, oh, it really is this easy.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's not as exhausting.
Right. Exactly.
It's exhausting.
Yeah, that's a better way to say it. Right. Yeah.
It's so much energy to maintain the persona. Like I even heard it this morning, like, oh, I got this new job and I'm worried about like if this group thinks I'm as good as oh my gosh, just let it go. Just like, guys, I'm new to this. I don't know what I'm doing. Like, help me learn.
Right. Yeah.
Like
it's a growth mindset.
All the games. Yeah. Like
it's simply a growth mindset.
And it will stop you from growing. It will, man. If you are so wrapped up on what people think and the attempt of looking good, you will not learn.
Yeah.
You will not learn in that state. And it's exhausting while you're at it.
Yeah.
So just let it go.
Yeah, because you're not focused on learning. You're focused on pretend. It's that guy that you know when you're trying to teach a guy, and this drives me crazy. And we saw this in the I know.
Yeah, this is what I've done. Yeah. It's like
if you knew, I wouldn't be talking to you. You would already be doing it, and I wouldn't be telling you need to do this, right? Like, So totally. It's just having that open mind and having that growth mindset. I love it.
Yeah.
All right, last question. Tyler Smith, I'm geographically separated from my wife and 2 kids, 14 and 11 years old, for the next 4 months for military training. Already been gone for 4.5 months too. What are some ideas to stay connected with them while away? Also, what are your thoughts on me reintegrating into the household when I get back after they've learned to live without me around?
Yeah, that's the last question. It's a good one. Okay, so what's first about ideas to stay connected? Be fun. Like, so here's just random ideas that are just coming to mind. For whatever reason, at one point, I send pictures to my daughter sometimes of my oldest son does sign language, right? And so I always use this "I love you" thing, right? And also I'll send him a picture. And one time I had anybody watching YouTube, I'm signing, and my index finger looks like I'm picking my nose, and it was an accident actually. And I did that, and my daughter replies with her finger up her nose doing the sign back, right? Now it's a thing. And so whenever we're doing something, I'll be like in a scenario and I'm like picking my nose saying, "I love you." And it's funny, right? Another idea is, I don't know, get a silly little troll or a little bear, like one of those little miniature Jesuses, and take pictures all the time of like little Jesus in a weird spot and send it to your kids to be funny, right? Like look for these little nuances and almost like a game between you and them about what's going on, right? 11 and 14, they're old enough to borrow mom's phone or they probably already have phones. So figure out a way to send them silly things so they're enticed to do the same back to you. And I would just double down on that as much as humanly possible. FaceTime, family prayers together at night, even though you're remote, if you can do that. Check-ins, text messages, funny memes. I mean, my daughters have taken like a picture of me being funny and they turn it into a GIF. I didn't even know you could do that. And so I have this little dancing Kipp GIF that they put on stuff, you know what I mean? Just to be silly. Just figure out how to be silly with them. Right. And maybe it's here's my daily check-in recorded video, and then send them the video so they see your face and that you're thinking about them. And so the amazing part, Tyler, we have so much tech, man. I don't think this could be any easier than it's ever been in the history of mankind, right? Whether it's Zoom calls, FaceTime, text messages, funny videos, there's lots that we can do, right? The other thing is like maybe come up with a challenge. Hey guys, why I'm gone? Let's do a challenge together. What's something you're doing? Like, I don't know, maybe we all plank together, or we're doing push-ups, or I don't know. Come up with something though, like a challenge that you guys can work on together, and then give updates to each other. And then let me jump to this question, Jay, and I'll pass it on over to you here.
Yeah.
Reintegration. The reintegration with the kids is not going to be an issue. It's the reintegration with mom. If you're not mindful, you're going to bring more burden when you get back, right? You're going to disrupt things. You're not going to put your crap away. You're going to disrupt the schedule if your wife is highly structured. So work with her. And I would literally ask about this. Hey, honey, I've been gone for a while. What's a really great way for when I come back that I'm not disruptive to anything? What's the immediate things that would be really valuable to you when I start? Like, can I jump in? And I would ask, can I jump in and I'm responsible to get kids ready for bed every night? Can I do that? Would you mind if I did that? But talk with her about it. Because if you just jump into it, then she's going to see that you're like stomping on her ground. You know what I mean? And kind of disrupting her plans. So I would just over communicate with mom around what would be ideal for her.
Yeah. Couple things, couple thoughts. You know, I'm with you with the consistency of like the communication, right? With staying engaged. It's so easy in this day and age. My daughters are not quite the same situation. They're in college now. They're freshmen in college, so they're away, but they come home on the weekends. So I see them, you know, on the weekends pretty often. But the way I stay connected during the week is since they were born, I tell all my kids, you know, I have this little kind of goodnight saying, goodnight, I love you, I believe in you, you have greatness within you, no nonsense, got it. They respond, got it. So my girls are in college, 18 years old, I'm sending them that text every night. And there's nights that you know, maybe I fall asleep and I forget to, and I wake up and I'm like, ooh, you know, but it's a way to stick. And then in the morning, I also would tell my kids when they were in high school and elementary school, as they walk out the door, be awesome today. So I'm sending that text, be awesome today, to my daughters, right? And they just, you know, I will, right? So it's just a way for us to stay connected during the week. And to your point of the challenge, you know, I got this marathon coming up in about a week and a half. And I was trying to recruit my oldest son to run it with me. My middle son was supposed to run it with me. He hurt his foot, tore some ligaments in his foot training, so now he can't run it. So I was trying to recruit my oldest son, but I realized we were also connecting way more. Like, he's not in the house anymore either. And by the way I was trying to recruit him is I would send him my training every day for like the last 6 months. We had more conversation in the last 6 months, whether he was training or not. In the beginning, he would try, you know, my point is that like that challenge of training for the marathon, and even him now, he's not training for it. He's not going to run it with me, but we're still having conversations on my training. Like, oh, wow, your pace got better. Oh, pace was a little slow today. Were you hurting today? How do you feel? Right. So there's a connection there that we didn't have before. So that's powerful. And then as far as the reintegrating, you hit the nail on the head. Ease into it. Right. I think of myself as the assistant coach now at this college wrestling team. Right. If I come in and I was a head coach at the high school level. Right. But if I come in and like, no, this, and this, the head coach could be like, who the hell is this guy? I have my system, right? Your wife has her system. She's been operating for over a half a year without you, right? So to come in and now try and maybe, you know, Tyler's in the military. He's got this really structured, disciplined way of thinking. Just ease yourself into it and then have those conversations. Hey, you know, before I left, we used to do things this way, right? We had a consistent dinner time, whatever it is. Can we get back to that 6 p.m. dinner time? And here's how I'm going to help get back to that instead of just coming in and start barking orders, right? So just ease into it and communicate.
Yeah. I love it, man. All right, cool.
Awesome.
We got through all the questions. Look at us.
Yeah. How about that? And hopefully we added some value.
Yeah. I mean, worst case, we threw in some Ryanisms. So at least you guys got some of those from us.
There you go.
You know, a couple call outs. I mean, we talked about the Iron Council. Jay, you mentioned it earlier. It's open, right? We used to only open it for enrollment at the beginning of each quarter. We're not doing that anymore. So you can join the Iron Council whenever you want. You get assigned a kind of a guide and a coach that will help you through the onboarding process to get on a battle team as quickly as possible. So if you're interested in joining us, go to orderman.com/Iron Council. And another typical call out, you know, follow Mickler on Instagram and X at Ryan Mickler. And then we have the Facebook group, facebook.com/group/orderman. The key thing is, you know, if you're listening to this, obviously you're supporting us, but hopefully you're bought into the mission of what this is this about. This is not, it goes back to what we said earlier, Jay. It's not just about us. That's plain small, right? This is bigger than just us. This is about our families. This is about our kids. This is about our spouses. This is about one another, right? And so band with us, help us perpetuate and to progress the movement around what we're trying to do. And as always, you know, all the resources are available at orderman.com, you know, whether it's newsletters and Iron Council. Oh, I almost forgot one last thing. You know, we have an in-person event in Southern Utah called the Uprising. I've been to the Uprising a number of times. Jay, you've been to it a number of times. Yeah. In my opinion, it's the best events that we ever put on our uprisings. They're just kind of special to me for whatever reason. But to learn more about the uprising and what that entails, go to orderman.com/uprising to learn more. Anything else, Jay, from you?
No, I'm gonna add it to the uprising. Your thought on the uprising is the great thing about the uprising is it's an intimate event, right? It's like 24 guys. The other events, you know, whether it was the main event back in the day, the men's forge event, those are big events and they're not as intimate. These are 24 guys. You're getting nose to nose, toes to toes, shoulder to shoulder. So if you like the things you're hearing through Ryan and the Order of Man and the Iron Council, like this is event. If you can make this event, it's one of the most powerful ones. So I just want to reiterate that. And listen, brother, always appreciate what you have to say. You always give me a lot to think about. So always appreciate having conversations with you, and glad we got to do this.
Yeah, I appreciate it. And gentlemen, until Friday field notes with Mr. Mickler, take action and become the man that you were meant to be.